Everything looks better in slow motion, and we're not sure why it works, but we know that directors have been slowing time down for years to awesome effect. These are the top 10 slow-mo moments of all time.
Dodge this.
Starting us off at number 10, let's just get it out of the way. It wouldn't be a list about slow motion if we didn't mention bullet time. And while Wanted had a cool spin on it, Bad Boys abused it to cheesy Michael Bay effect, and Kill and Kill Again gave us the hilarious 1980s version, our pick goes to the one and only Matrix. When the Wachowskis set out to make time and space their bitch, they initially tried to stick to traditional approaches. They wanted to move a single camera around an actor as fast as possible, so they tried dollies, gimbals, and even joked about strapping their cinematographer to a rocket. But when none of that worked, and with quite a few broken dollies, they used the oldest trick in the book, literally. The very first moving image ever filmed was photographed by Edward Muybridge in order to settle a bet as to how many legs left the ground when a horse galloped. Muybridge set up 16 still cameras along a track and triggered them in succession, which gave us this. For the Matrix bullet time, the Wachowskis did just about the same thing, only they placed dozens and dozens of still cameras around the actors on a green screen with computer-generated precision and laser target aim. Often imitated but never duplicated, the result changed action movies for good.
They said if I did slow-mo, that I would see the world in a different way.
Sometimes the best excuse to slow things down is to get a character really, really high. And while Wolf of Wall Street's Quaalude Opera and Old School's Tranquilizer Meltdown are hilarious examples of the effect, what better choice of drug for our number 9 than the perfectly nicknamed slow-mo from Dredd? There are a number of 1% speed, hyper-real, drug-induced sequences in the film, and while the brutal shootout deserves an honorable mention, there's nothing quite like Lena Headey's skyscraper freefall. The filmmakers set out to create a sequence that was beautiful but disorienting, and with its oversaturated, prismatic colors, haunting ethereal soundtrack, and close-up final impact, we think that's exactly what they did. Gorgeous, but lethal.
So unforgettable, thinks that I am unforgettable too.
Now, if there's a filmmaker who's known for using and sometimes abusing slow motion, it's gotta be Zack Snyder. From his awesome speed ramps in 300 to his smooth action set pieces in Sucker Punch to the most melodramatic owls ever in Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, the only film that's escaped Snyder's slow-mo treatment was Man of Steel. But for our number 8, we've got to give it to the gorgeous title sequence of Watchmen. What better way to get through decades worth of exposition and ease viewers from comic book stills to live-action film than with a series of gorgeously staged moving photographs. Based on the comic book panels themselves, each shot is an intricate tableau chock full of pertinent information, extra details, Easter eggs, and in-jokes, like the cop staring down Silk Spectre's shirt or the fact that the couple Night Owl saves were Batman's parents. Of course, the best part is how it reappropriates iconic cultural imagery, from Elvis meeting the president to the Kennedy assassination tapes to Da Vinci's Last Supper, all the while setting up the characters and conflict that drive the rest of the story. While the movie might have been hard to follow for those who hadn't read the book, this sequence truly is a masterpiece of visual storytelling.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Now, if we're talking about slow-motion openings, there are a couple more worth mentioning. The commanding napalm flashbacks from Apocalypse Now, the uplifting beach run from Chariots of Fire, and our number 7, the slow-motion zombie waltz from Zombieland. It's no secret that slow-motion makes everything seem epic. Even really boring shit looks badass at 1/10 speed. But filmmakers over the years have found that the one thing that looks coolest of all is destruction. And this opening has it in spades. The snail speed montage of a world gone mad from a zombie virus perfectly marries comedy and horror with the beauty of slow-mo chaos. The sequence is extraordinary in just how excessive it really is, from copious amounts of blood to car explosions to raining money to shattering glass to the hypnotic gyrations of a stripper zombie's nipple tassels. The Zombieland opening credits are an exercise in going way, way, way over the top. But it's hard to argue with it when it ends up being this f***ing epic.
That was the Partridge Family's Doesn't Somebody Want to Be Wanted.
Now, speaking of badass, there's hardly a more popular badass trope than the group of characters walks towards the camera in slow motion shot. It's been done everywhere, from Armageddon to Pain and Gain to Starsky and Hutch and to Bridesmaids to Monsters Inc. Characters look pretty damn cool when they walk slow. But none of these are quite as classic as another opening title sequence, this time from Reservoir Dogs. Now, for those of you who don't know, slow motion is usually accomplished by doing something called overcranking. Film, which is normally shot and projected at 24 frames per second, is instead run through the camera faster while shooting. To cut the speed in half, filmmakers expose 48 frames in 1 second. Then, when they project those 48 frames back at the normal 24 frames per second rate, that 1 second of action takes 2 seconds to play back. And then you have slow motion. It's called overcranking because early cameras were cranked by hand instead of turned by motor. Unfortunately, not all cameras can accomplish this, and rumor has it that Tarantino couldn't afford one of the ones that could, so the slow motion in Reservoir Dogs is actually just accomplished by repeating every frame. Sure, it doesn't have the silky, smooth, glidey feel of other entries on this list, but there's something scrappy and cool about how Tarantino uses it that makes this slow-mo sequence one for the history books. If there's one thing slow-mo is practically made for, it's capturing the chaos and destruction that is a shootout. Gun battles are fast and the action is often hard to follow, which is why directors often turn to slow motion to make it comprehensible. The Wild Bunch and Bonnie and Clyde both used intermittent slow motion to control the pace of their final gun battles, and Brian De Palma used it in The Untouchables not only for its badass factor, but to build palpable suspense. However, our number 5 goes to a different stairway shootout, the one from Hard-Boiled. Capitalizing on the destruction of an entire tea house, Hard-Boiled is perhaps the best-known Hong Kong film from director John Woo, who is not only known for creating the martial arts-esque gunplay action style known as gun fu, but also for putting flying doves in everything. Hard-Boiled is a cops versus triad story about a saxophone-playing officer named Tequila, and the very first scene sees him taking on an entire room full of bad guys, elegantly mixing slow motion with regular speed footage. And the sequence culminates in an epic slide down a stairway banister, bobbing in and out of real time, dual-wielding pistols like a boss the entire way.
Hello, Danny. Come and play with us.
When people think of directors that favor overcranking, they might first mention Zack Snyder, Tarantino, Wes Anderson, or even Michael Bay, but they probably won't have Stanley Kubrick on that list, which is funny because Kubrick has created quite a few of the most iconic slow-motion shots of all time. From the Bone Tool in 2001 to the Droogs fight in A Clockwork Orange, Kubrick is a slow-motion virtuoso, but he outdoes himself with our number 4, the eternally creepy elevator full of blood from The Shining. So far, we've seen slow-mo used for exposition, tension, action, humor, and a whole lot of badassery, but it's rare to find it used for terror. But when it works, it's incredible. Kubrick's tidal wave of blood is pure nightmare fuel, and its speed only amplifies the dread. Kubrick used almost 300 gallons of fake blood over 3 different takes, all of which took 9 whole days to prepare in order to execute this shot. And we're glad he kept insisting it look more and more realistic. We won't join the legion of fans in speculating on what it means, but we have no problem claiming it as one of the creepiest slow-motion moments ever shot. Next up, we want to take a moment to honor some of the early classic slow motion before the newfangled glossy action of the 21st century. Kurosawa used sparing slow motion to chilling effect in Seven Samurai, and Vertov may have invented slow motion sports photography in Man with the Movie Camera. But our number 3 goes to the woman who perfected it with Leni Riefenstahl's Olympia. Riefenstahl may be better known for her Triumph of the Will, which, if you're not familiar, is both a masterpiece of filmmaking and Nazi propaganda, but her lesser-known Olympia is no less beautiful or controversial. The entire movie dips in and out of slow motion in order to capture the elegance and beauty of athletes at work and play, but nowhere is it better than in her diving sequence. Riefenstahl basically invented the sports documentary with this film, but she hardly concerned herself with winners or losers. She focused on the form of the human body and the movements it creates. Sure, it sucks that she pretty much only photographed white athletes, but we can still admire art while condemning its artist, and Olympia definitely belongs on our list. Of course, when it comes to morally charged uses of slow motion, the biggest one is always violence. No one can deny that filmmakers the world over have used slow motion to take violent acts and render them beautiful on screen by abstracting them in time and space. From Raging Bull to Sherlock Holmes to Django Unchained and beyond, graceful violence is everywhere. Whether it's glorifying or just artistic isn't our place to say, but luckily for our number 2, that doesn't really matter, because it does the exact opposite. We're talking about the elevator scene from Drive. Bookending an absolutely brutal but regular speed face-stomping scene, Drive takes a turn for the ethereal when it extends 2 fleeting moments until their length matches their weight. But it also colors the violence in the starkest of contrasts, perfectly highlighting the dissonance that comes with the driver's capacity for both passionate love and utter destruction. His kiss is tender and beautiful, while his violence is ugly and cruel, and the final slow-motion shot of his looking back towards Irene is all the more heartbreaking for it.
Nice and hot in here. Okay, I'm laying on the charge. Nice and sweet. I'm coming back.
And finally, rounding out our list at number 1, what's more perfect for slow motion than an explosion? And while we didn't pick some of the other examples that just missed our top 10 from Inception, Tropic Thunder, or Swordfish, we did pick the opening sequence from The Hurt Locker. There's no sense of glory in this violence, just terror, pain, and heartbreak. The sequence works because it feels so real. There's no cheesy CGI or overwrought melodrama, just a man losing his life in the briefest of instants. And it's a vital scene to the movie, brutally establishing the stakes of every moment that these men risk in the field. By making us feel the consequences, we spend the rest of the movie grappling with our own fear. It's gut-wrenching and raw, which is why we think this is the best slow-mo moment of all time. So, what do you think? Do you disagree with one of our choices? Did we forget to mention one of your favorite slow-motion scenes of all time? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more CineFix Movie Lists.